In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of using the Intellidex BanAnalyser software. This software is designed to analyze the BA900's data that is published by the South African Reserve Bank based on statutory returns from all registered banks in South Africa. Those are banks registered in terms of the Banks Act and the Mutual Banks Act. The way to use the software is to complete the options in each of the windows on the left-hand side, starting with selecting the banks. You can select any particular bank on this alphabetical list, or if you go to the bottom of the list, you can select some groups of banks. Let's have a look at Big Four banks. Then you can select the period. The database begins in 2008, and you can choose any period from then until the current date. The database is updated every month with data that's usually about 2 months behind the current time. Once you've selected your period, you can then select your data. Here you can see all of the lines of the BA900's return. There are, within these 19 tables, a total of 384 lines of data. The table names reflect different aspects of bank balance sheets. Let's have a look at liabilities at month end, which shows us the deposits in the banking system. We'll have a look at the total deposits here. Once we've selected the option on the left-hand side, we click the right arrow to add it to the pane on the right-hand side, which is the data series we're going to generate. Once we're ready, we click Add to ensure that it joins our workspace. Finally, we can select operations. You can select one or all of these different alternative ways of showing the time series. Let me select all 4 of them. Once you're ready, you click Generate Output, and the graphs will be created reflecting the time series that we've shown. So here we see the Big Four banks, ABSA, FirstRand, Nedbank and Standard Bank, and their deposits over time. The first graph shows you the nominal total amount expressed in Rand billion. The second shows that as a percentage of total assets. The third graph shows the market share of total deposits between the banks. And the final graph shows the industry totals. So here you can see total deposits across the industry and the total as a percentage of assets shown on the right-hand vertical axis. Within this screen, you can then zoom into any of these 4 graphs. Let's have a look at the market share graph. By clicking on it, you will see this expanded version. At any point, you can mouse over any of the lines and you will see the actual numbers for that particular point. This database collects data on a monthly basis, so that's the level of granularity you will get in the time series. Within this view, you can click on any of the banks on the legend at the top to temporarily remove that line from your graph. This helps when you have many time series that you're looking at and you want to make 1 or 2 visible or invisible at a time to be able to see more clearly what's happening on your graph. You can switch between the different graphs using these options at the bottom. So that, for instance, is the nominal total amount of deposits in the system. At any time, you can click on this window to see what it is you're looking at. So this shows you which table, which row you've selected, and which column you've selected to have a look at. Now, the disk icon will provide you with a download in Excel format of the data at any point, and the printer icon will open up a printable version of the graph. You can then click the print icon and save it as PDF or choose a printing option in order to print out the graph that you have looked at. So this shows you one line out of the BA900s. Let's have a look now at how you can look at multiple columns. So we looked at the total from the deposit line. I'm going to remove that from the right hand side, and we can look at the deposit line and have a look at the term structure. So we'll call on lines for up to 1 day, for 1 day to 1 month, for 1 month to 6 months, and deposits of more than 6 months. We'll click on the right hand arrow to add these to our workspace. We're now looking at the big four banks, but if I generate this output, you'll see that we will get a very many lines because we've got 4 lines per bank. What we can do to examine how this term structure has changed for the industry as a whole is click on all banks instead of just the big four. By doing that, we can look at the whole industry. The all banks option gives every bank combined. And I'll click generate output to be able to see this. So here we have nominal total amount, and this is the term structure of the deposit book. You can click on this to see what each column is to remind yourself, and the legend will show those column numbers in it. So you can see, for instance, that the red line reflects deposits of up to 1 day, and that amount has been growing relative to other amounts, including more than 1 day and for 1 month to 6 months and for more than 6 months. Remember, you can go back to all graphs by clicking on that option in the bottom of the screen. However, because we're looking at the industry as a whole, the market share graph and the market share as a percentage of total assets won't make sense. So you can remove those operations from the list of operations that you're showing in order to focus on more usable data. So there you go. That gives you a brief introduction to the tool. There is a great deal of data that can be looked at and many lines of the BA900s and different aspects of balance sheets to see. Please do remember you can contact us on support at intellidex.co.za by email or telephone in South Africa +27 10 072 0472 at any time. Do enjoy using the software and do let us know how you find it and any ideas for improvements you might have.